Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. So I have disappeared for quite a while. I've just been focusing on some stuff in my own life and trying to take a little bit longer of a break over winter break and like actually rest a little bit because I've kind of been on the go for like a couple years. So I'm feeling rested up and I'm ready to dive back into making content for the channel. I have been uploading a little bit on my TikTok and Instagram, but not with a ton of consistency. So I started this big project where I wanted to take a character that I main in League of Legends, Fiora, and do like a full skin concept, like the whole design pipeline where I take a skin line and then design a skin in that line. And then after doing all the thumbnailing and concept art, going on to composition thumbnails and then composition illustrations and then a final splash art. And right now I'm still working on the splash art. So these videos will be probably a 2 or 3 video series, and I'll go through, show the time lapse and talk a little bit about my process for, my reasoning why I do certain things and my process for doing them, really. So first I want to show you my reference board and talk a little bit about reference collection. So I'm going to pull that up real quick. All right, so here's my Milano board. Milano's one of my favorite programs. This is one of the only like art subscriptions that I actually, or like art website subscriptions that I actually pay for. It's like 10 or 11 bucks a month. You can do the free version of it and you get like 100 photos to upload, but it's just super handy for getting like a big like collage like visual representation for a project you're working on. I'm not sponsored, though I wish I were. But go check it out if you're looking for a way to like collectively organize specific photos. I do a lot with Pinterest as well, but like I usually have boards organized by game or like type of design, whether it's digital or traditional or black and white, those kind of things. And then when I'm working a specific project, I can go to my Pinterest boards and kind of bring everything over that is important to what I'm working on and kind of organize it in a easy to understand way. So for this, I basically just looked at Mythmaker skins since I'm designing a skin in the same line. I looked at Mythmaker skins, but I also looked at a handful of Fiora's other skins, especially when I was trying to come up with a hairstyle for the designs. So I noticed, really first, I like to just do some exploratory sketches. So that's what these were. Drawing the characters in the skin and in the skin line. So like Sivir, Aurelia, and Nami, as well as just kind of taking pieces of the armor that had intricate swirls or the different kind of design components. Drawing those over is kind of like taking notes. Like it helps build up my visual library so that when I go to start sketching the skin for Fiora, then I can kind of draw on those notes that I took before and some of those little visual pieces will come out. There's kind of 2 big things that I noticed in this skin line, like 2 different ways that the designs go. Either they have this like kind of like fluffy fur breaking the silhouette, or they're kind of more sleek like the Sivir skin. I personally prefer the sleeker look, so I knew that that's what I wanted to do going into the Fiora designs. So I didn't really explore any flowing fabric. I just felt like those kind of components didn't go with the like duelist kind of elegant character that Fiora is. I also drew a lot on Garen's design since he's from the same region as Fiora. So I figured, well, probably the designers that did the Garen skin brought some Demacian components into the skin, and then through extension, I would look at Garen's design and maybe get some of those same components in my Fiora design. So these were some quick exploratory sketches just to get like a very basic understanding of my silhouette and kind of what design flourishes I wanted to put in the costume to convey that it was Mythmaker, but still have it unique from the others. Okay, so jumping into my first kind of exploration of the design past the cliff notes on the design language of the skin line. First, I just drew like a quick silhouette. I think I actually pulled up, there's this website. I can't think of the name of it. I will put it in the description, or I'll put it up in the video, but you can go and you can look at the models and all their animations ripped from the game for League of Legends, and you can pause it and like turn it around in a 3D model viewer. So you can get like any kind of angle that you want for any kind of attack or movement of each character. So I used that as reference to get Fiora's idle pose. And then I just did a quick, like, very loose figure drawing of that pose so that I could build my costumes on top of that. And like I said before, I was really heavily influenced by Garen's design, especially with the like big, sharp, hollow armor pieces. So you can see I really wanted to bring that into Fiora's design, especially with her sword and her shoulder pauldrons. You can see I kind of drew on the hair designs from different skins. Like the far left skin here looks a lot like IG Fiora's design, and then the center one's closer to, oh my goodness, the center one is closer to what's the skin? Piercing Heart Fiora, and then the last one is I've drawn Soaring Sword Fiora's hairstyle. And I just kind of wanted to take these each a different direction, kind of making them as different from each other as I could, and taking little components from each of the skins. So like the left and right ones have some components of Nami's design, while the center one has components of Sivir's. And I think that's really the best way to explore a skin for an existing line, is just to take all of the information that's already there and kind of mismatch it together and kind of morph it to suit the character that you're designing the skin for. Here I'm just throwing in some quick flats to get a kind of an idea of what these skins would look like with the color profiles. And then once I get these 3 ideas done, I pick my favorite parts from each of them and kind of combine those together in a more fleshed out design. So you can see here, I'm just going through and doing another armature, this time a front profile and a back profile, mimicking the same pose, which again, I use that model viewer. So handy if you're ever doing any sort of skin concept or just want to practice poses or characters. I would highly recommend checking that out. So I kind of, like I said, meshed those designs together, taking components from mainly the right and left designs. I really like the shoulders for the right and center designs. I really like the shoulders for the center design, as well as the more sleek torso design, similar to Sivir's. And then I took the like shoulder cloak from the rightmost design and the long flowing hair. I thought those worked really well together with the Mythmaker line. And then the tall thigh highs, similar to IG Fiora's design. I brought in a couple elements from her original design, like the gold strip coming down the center of the thigh. I really liked the like shoulder medallion that the Mythmaker Gwen had, so I wanted to incorporate that, as well as the little tassels and the like jade color highlights. So I really wanted to bring those into this design. I thought they were like maybe my favorite components of the Mythmaker skins. So once I get a quick line art done and kind of clean that up, I wanted this to be a more professional looking, tidy looking concept sheet so that someone could look at this and interpret it and be able to tell exactly how the skin is supposed to look for doing a splash art or creating a game model. So I wanted to like have this as clean and tidy as I could, make it as professional looking as possible so that I could take it to the next step and do the Summoner's Rift illustration, which I took some shortcuts here because take shortcuts when you can. Don't waste time. So I just took IG Fiora's like Summoner Rift model view. This is something very common that the League of Legends concept artists do, where they'll take the skin and draw it as if it were standing in Summoner's Rift as the game model. So I just traced over the poses for IG, and then because I couldn't find a blank Summoner's Rift, I just painted over the IG Fiora and then started working on my Mythmaker design within the same pose, basically. Again, doing the front and back. This time in an environment so you can kind of see how the skin is going to interact with some basic lighting and how it will look in Summoner's Rift. Again, I'm trying to be a lot cleaner with this, make it look as professional as I can. Not just because I think the main reason that I did these extra sketches in the Summoner's Rift was just to make it look like super professional, as if it were an actual concept illustration for the game. Really, you wouldn't need this. Like, this is just something extra to do. If I had stopped at the previous stage of concept design, I could have easily taken that and done a splash art illustration. But I also wanted to just like exercise my ability to do this and see how it would come out, because it's not something that I've really deeply explored, these skin concepts, I mean. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this concept came out. I think it's super cool to do a project like this and really break down like all the steps that you would go through in a commercial pipeline. And you know, it may be wishful thinking, but I have heard of some other people's skin concepts getting taken in and made to some capacity, whether they're interpreted a little differently by the Riot art team, but it's not uncommon that people will create a fan skin and then get hired by Riot Games, or they'll take that skin and turn it into something. They'll take that skin concept and make it into something within the game. So I just thought it would be kind of cool to try my hand at it and see where it goes. I've been working on the splash art. My next video, I think I'll do all the compositions and thumbnails, and then I'll do a third video where I talk about the splash art process, because that's kind of the main thing, the most complex piece. I took a break from it for a few days because I was getting a little burnt out. It's doing if you've ever looked at League of Legends splash arts, they're some of the most like incredibly illustrated art for any game. The amount of detail in them is just, it blows your mind. Like, you can zoom in and in and in, and there's all these like tiny details that are barely noticeable when you're zoomed out, but they add up to make like an incredibly stylized, realistic piece. And so I thought it would be neat to kind of see if I'm capable or how close to that level of painting I am. So I hope you'll join me for the next episode in this series. And with that, I love you all. Please take care.